Hi, today I'm going to talk about the perils of running. And yes, I have a pelvis on my cranium. And take that off. That's real good for Halloween if you're a chiropractor. You could always find stuff in your office to wear because everybody likes bones and stuff on Halloween. Here we have a pelvis, and what sits in the pelvis is the sacrum. Here's our spine, if you remember this from the other day. And the joint between these two right here is called the sacroiliac joint. But today I want to talk to you about the perils of running and what can happen to your spine with improper stretching and a lot of running, and the damage you could do and how to avoid that. The largest group of patients of ex-athletes from any sport that I treat are ex-runners. Okay, that's it. The biggest group. And that's because it feels good. You get an endorphin high when you run. I love to run, but I'm not a graceful runner, so for my aerobic work, I like to do cycling. Swimming is fine, too. It's a little inconvenient sometimes for some people, like I don't have a pool, but I can go out on my bike every day and work out on it and get a good sweat going. It's also non-weight bearing, but today's not about cycling. Today's about running. So basically, when you look at the spine from the side, you should have a roughly 60-degree arc when you're standing. Now, these curves that go forward are the secondary curves, and let me explain what that means. Maybe I said on a previous video, I forget. When you're in the crib and when you're first born, your spine is like a C curve. And then at one point, you're looking for your mom for some food or some comfort or a diaper change. And maybe you're looking for dad for the diaper change. And you look up, and that curve in the neck, okay, is called the lordosis. And that's the first adaptational curve. We're looking for something. Then we stand upright. A few months later, we start cruising. We hold on to things. And the second adaptational curve, also a lordosis, is the lumbar spine. Now, this 60-degree arc is the perfect balance between stability and mobility. If your spine is bent too far one way or the other, you lose either stability or flexibility. So this allows us to have that. Now, in front of the lumbar spine here, attaching to right here, these three vertebrae, is the psoas muscle. And the psoas muscle goes, I'm going to stand up here, goes from here through your pelvis and attaches to the inside of your thighs, right underneath all those big, thick groin muscles you have there. The psoas muscle stabilizes the spine, but also when it gets tight, it causes the back to arch. Now, what can cause the back to arch when you run? As you bring your, doesn't matter which one, as you, people running together. Anyway, as you run and I was going to say when the fingers go behind you, when the feet go behind you, you're arching your back. Well, the impact from the ground, by the way, when you walk down the street, there's a force of about 1 on the Richter scale, a very tiny earthquake going up each leg. It's increased. I don't know what the rate is when you run, but it goes up each side. And where is it going to stop? In the big, thick, heavy bones. Actually, it may not stop there. It could also stop at the knees or ankles, and you can get a knee or ankle injury. But we're not talking about knees or ankles right now. Okay, the force will go up, and it will lodge and focus on the sacroiliac joint between the sacrum and the ilium. Well, over a period of time, the body gets tired of that, and the curve starts to change. Curve starts to change, and what it does as it changes, it actually closes off some of the nerve spaces called foramina. Remember that from last week? It was on the test. As it closes up those foramina, that space, pain will come, and since that's the L5 nerve right above the sacrum, the symptom is sciatica. Okay, and that's the nerve that goes down the back of both legs. It tells the hamstring to contract, your calf muscle to contract, which is why runners often have calf pain. Now, a couple of things I'd like to say. If that you can undo this by stretching. The stretches that are going to be most painful are the groin stretches, because after you release the groin and you start coming forward, review the groin stretches. I'm not going to do it here. On the earlier videos, groin stretches, all of them. As you're coming forward, once you get past the groin and the outside of the legs and the back, you're starting to stretch the psoas muscle. Bilaterally, also the iliotibial stretches. In yoga, it's called the pigeon. That stretches, once you release the leg, that stretches the psoas. Notice what I said in both of those, in all the cases for all those stretches. Once you release the side of the leg, the groin, and the back, then you feel the psoas. Why is that? The outer muscles are the ones that encase the body. It's the inner muscles that take time to get to. So you can't do the stretch for 13 seconds and say, oh, I'm good. You're not good. You've stretched the outer muscles. It's the deeper ones, which is why I'm a big advocate of holding stretches for long periods of time. So if you're starting to have symptoms, one of the best things you can do is start stretching more. Also, alternate hard days and easy days with running. If you run a lot, it will cause problems. The latest research shows that scar tissue forms and injuries within 3 hours of the injury. So the constant moving back and forth, a back muscle, all muscles should slide along each other like my shirt slides along. Okay, my sleeve slides along my shirt. If I glue my shirt to my skin and I pull, that's an adhesion, that's scar tissue. And on the outside, it would hurt. My video about shin splints, that's for runners too, explains how that can happen in the shins, but often it happens in the back. Okay, and believe it or not, a lot of this can be prevented. It's work. I didn't say it wasn't work. It's not enjoyable work like that endorphin high when you get done with your run, but it's important that you do that if you want to stay pain-free and running for your whole life, if that's your chosen activity. And people go and buy lots of shoes, and they'll even do some stretches, but really it's the length and longevity of holding each stretch that helps break up some of the adhesions which may already be formed, and also keeps this curve, okay, from getting worse. Okay, now if I take a picture of this, not even an X-ray, just a regular picture. This is L, L5, L4, L3. If I put a little mark in the middle of L3 and drop it down roughly perpendicular to the ground when you're standing, that line that's called the gravity weight line, should come into the first third of the sacrum. And a lot of runners, the sacrum is so what's called posterior, that line is way forward of that, causing more of what's called a cantilever effect on L5 and sacrum, giving a boatload of pain. And I'm an athletic guy. I like to move around. My profession is very athletic. I have to be on my feet. I have to use my arms. I don't want to hurt, and I have figured out lots of ways to prevent that. So if you have any questions, you can ask them to me, and I will be happy to answer them. My new project is called markrosenbergdc.com. For now, it's a new website, www.markrosenbergdc, all lowercase.com. Right now, I'm just putting up the videos I'm putting here on YouTube, but there'll be more interesting information to come on that particular website. Howtostretch.com stays on as an archive. I don't know what I'm doing with that right now, because this interactive stuff on YouTube is a lot more current. Alrighty?